She got stopped cold at the damn gate like a broke extra in a millionaire's action movie. Her jacket looked like it lost a fight with a garbage truck, and the rifle slung over her shoulder? That prehistoric beast looked like it was dug up from under a war memorial. VIP lanes don't cater to lost puppies and charity cases. The receptionist sneered, barely looking up, his eyes scanning her like she just crawled out of a refugee camp. From the corner, some silver spoon brat spat a laugh. Yo, they letting janitors in now? Like her existence was a glitch in their curated little paradise. Harper didn't say jack. No excuses. No explanations. Just calmly yanked out her VIP pass like a silent slap to every smug face in the room. She walked forward through their laughter, through their venom, through the sea of mockery until 10 flawless shots cracked out and shut every single one of those entitled bastards up. Just like that. Hawthorne Elite Range was no ordinary gun range. It was a goddamn cathedral of superiority. Its towering glass and steel face shimmered in the California sun like a sniper's scope aimed at peasants. Inside, the air reeked of gunpowder, entitlement, and the unmistakable scent of money. Every firing lane was lined with the elite sons of generals, Ivy League prodigies, retired SEALs, and Olympic medalists. The floor was polished black marble, cold and merciless, reflecting LED-lit leaderboards beaming out names that dripped power. This wasn't membership, it was hereditary royalty. The walls flexed with gold-framed photos of past champions, eyes colder than the steel they carried. A velvet rope separated the gods from the mortals. And today, Harper Lane? She was very much on the wrong side of that rope. Her faded olive jacket and scarred-up jeans screamed, "Wrong zip code," a direct insult to the designer tactical gear sweeping past her. She was 23, quiet, lethal, and raw-like, something forged not in a lab but out in the wild. Auburn hair tied back in a loose braid, glowing like ember strands in the sun. Hazel eyes, sharp enough to gut a man, held the kind of focus that made people nervous. On her back rested an M1 Garand Old School, worn smooth from use. It was history slung across her shoulder. Her father, Colonel Thomas Lane, had been a ghost with a sniper rifle, a man who could end wars with a single shot. He raised Harper on recoil and breath control, not lullabies. When he died, she promised him she'd honor every ounce of his legacy. But this crowd? They didn't see any of that. They saw a thrift store, nobody trying to sneak into their royal court. At the gate stood Derek, greased-up receptionist with a jawline as sharp as his ego. He blocked her path like a dollar store security guard. "This ain't a place for civilians," he announced loudly, making sure every pearl clutcher in the room heard him. "VIP lanes are for actual members, not whatever you are." He eyed her jacket like it offended him personally. His gaze dropped to her rifle, like it might rust the floor. Cue the entry of Connor Blake, hedge fund spawn in a $4,000 tracksuit, leaning like a billboard for privilege. "Damn," he grinned. "Maintenance got clearance now?" The vultures behind him chuckled like it was stand-up night. Harper's fingers found the pass again, a worn card once carried by her father's old commanding officer. The kind you didn't get without bleeding for it. She held it up. "I'm a guest," she said flatly. Beep. Green light. Derek's smirk cracked. He stepped aside, muttering, "This is a mistake." The sea of rich kids parted as she moved through them like a blade. Their laughter chased her, the lounge echoing with ridicule. Inside, the live feed of the range turned into a digital crucifixion. Phones everywhere, screens glowing. Snapshots, captions. "Welfare, sniper," one read, zoomed in on her boots. "She thrifted that rifle, right?" Another wrote, posted by a congressman's son, Vanessa Cole. Hawthorne's golden girl with a designer scope and Botox in her soul stood tall, her voice sharp and venomous. "Look at her," she sneered for the stream. "Thinking she belongs here. This ain't a salvage yard, sweetheart." The audience roared, clapping like jackals. Comments blew up. "Kick her out." "Fraud." One punk even yelled, "Bet she found that pass in a dumpster." Harper's expression didn't flinch. Her hazel eyes stayed locked forward. But on the live stream, her mother's pale face watching from a hospital bed wore the pain Harper refused to show. The room festered with cruelty. Their smugness, a wall. Their approval of each insult, a blade. The shooting range was a cathedral of arrogance, 50-meter lanes stretching out under a vaulted ceiling like a battlefield for the blessed. Digital scoreboards ticked like a judgmental god. Gunfire cracked in rhythm with laughter. The elite lounged in leather chairs, sipping $20 lattes with custom-engraved rifles cradled like newborns. Harper's jacket drew glares like someone farted in church. Tyler Reed sprawled in his chair like a frat god, a $12,000 rifle lazily propped beside him. "So, what? Janitors get guest passes now?" he called out, full volume. His trust fund wolf pack howled with laughter. One of them flicked a shell casing at her boots. "Polish that, sweetheart." She stepped over it without a twitch. Then came Professor Laura Vansea, senior instructor with heels sharp enough to stab your reputation. Her voice poured sugar over poison. "This is unusual," she said loudly. "Hawthorne is for trained professionals, not charity cases with antiques." She gestured at Harper's rifle like it was diseased. Her diamond earrings sparkled as if mocking the dust on Harper's jacket. "You're lowering our standards. Maybe a community range is more your speed." Applause. Goddamn applause. Harper stood silent. Still, her braids swayed slightly as she adjusted the rifle. Her eyes flickered not with tears but with fire. Her mother watched it all from a hospital bed, fists clenched. The betrayal was thick. So was the audience's boiling fury watching this elitist execution unfold in real time. Then came Vanessa again, now behind her optics, adjusting with surgical precision, her blonde hair perfect, her voice razor sharp. "This ain't a war movie cosplay, girl. This is Hawthorne." The social feed blew up like a riot. "Who's this broke-ass poser?" flooded the chat. Then stepped in the head coach, Colonel Raymond Pierce, a war-weathered ex-Marine built like a tank with medals that clinked when he breathed. He looked at Harper like she farted on the altar. "You sure you know which end of the gun's which?" he barked. Harper didn't blink. "I'll figure it out," she said quietly. The crowd lost it. Phones lifted, recording, the moment they thought she'd break. Then the range's poster boy made his move. Ethan Caldwell-Rich, ruthless, handsome enough to model for tactical gear porn. Tailored black uniform, $60,000 rifle polished like a mirror. He just fired 3 rounds, 9.9, 9.8, 9.7. The lounge cheered like he'd cured cancer. He turned to Harper, grinned, a grin that could melt hearts or break souls. "Beat me," he said for everyone to hear, "and I walk out right now. But if I win, you're gone, janitor." The laughter was deafening. Phones out. Cameras live. He leaned in close. "No pressure, sweetheart." Harper just nodded. That's it. One nod. Like she'd already buried them. At lane 8, she set up. Connor Blake oozed over again, his tracksuit practically yelling, "Money laundering. That thing's a fossil," he sneered. "Bet it falls apart before you squeeze the trigger." He flicked a coffee stir at her boots. "Pick it up, maintenance girl." Laughter. Phones. Captions. Trash range. Museum cosplay. Scrapyard shooter. Vanessa smirked behind her optics again. "Go home before you shoot your foot off, hun." Coach Pierce raised his clipboard like he was ready to write her obituary. "This is an elite facility," he said flatly. "We don't train amateurs." But Harper didn't tremble. She loaded that relic with surgical care, face unreadable, a statue in storm. Across the livestream, her mother's face cracked, each insult landing like a slap. Social feeds boiled. Comments, memes, hate. But Harper? She was just getting started. "She's fake," one comment spat out on the live stream courtesy of a politician's pampered little princess lounging on a velvet couch like her opinion mattered. Tyler Reed rose next, voice booming through the elite clubhouse like a frat bro who mistook a shooting range for his trust fund birthday party. "Why is she even here? This is our range, not some soup kitchen with bullets." The crowd loved it. The 1% locked shields, their elitism rising like a fortress made of Gucci and generational wealth. Then came Mia Hold Designer, everything, empty as a purse commercial. She whipped a crumpled score sheet at Harper's boots with a sneer. "Clean that up, janitor." The paper skidded across the marble, brushing Harper's foot like a desperate insult looking for attention. Harper didn't flinch. didn't even acknowledge the trash at her feet. Her braids swayed gently as she ran her checks on the rifle, her hazel eyes laser-locked on the bullseye 50 meters away. The crowd's rage simmered, but now it wasn't all aimed at Harriet, it was at themselves, too. They could feel it. The pressure building. The setup before a goddamn explosion. The insults escalated like a last-ditch attempt to shake her. A retired general-turned-range consultant leaned over to Coach Pierce, muttering loud enough for every mic to catch it. "This is what you get when you let scholarship trash in." His voice like stale bourbon and white-collar bitterness. "She's got no breathing, no discipline, no chance." The mob murmured agreement like a congregation of jackals, phones snapping, catching Harper mid-stillness waiting for her to crack, to flinch, to fail. Vanessa Cole, still gripping her high-end scope like it was made of her ego, called out with that signature venom, "You're a walking embarrassment, girl. Leave now before you drag all of us down with you." Connor Blake, back for another swing, barked, "Bet she's never even fired a gun before. Probably swiped that pass out of the trash." The laughter came back like a damn tidal, wave-sharp, loud, cruel. Every word a stone hurled at the wall of calm Harper held in front of her like armor. Her fingers touched the rifle. Just a faint tremor, almost imperceptible, but still, her face? Still a stone wall. Cold, beautiful, unshaken. Ethan Caldwell stepped up first, because of course he did. The Golden Boy's every movement was smooth as sin, the rifle in his hands like an extension of his over-polished ego. The digital scoreboard blinked to life. 10.0, 9.9, 10.0, 10.0. Damn near flawless. His grouping was tighter than his jawline. The crowd lost their minds, clapping, hooting, already throwing Harper's name into the trash heap. Ethan glanced her way with a grin, sharp enough to cut glass. "Good luck, thrift store." The live stream chat went rabid. "She's done. No way she tops that. Pack it up, maintenance girl." Then Harper stepped forward. Her M1 Garand looked like it came out of a war museum, but in her hands, it was something else entirely. Something sacred. The crowd shut the hell up. Phones raised like weapons, waiting to catch the collapse. She exhaled. Stillness. Not a twitch. The target was a speck 50 meters away, a red dot sitting dead center like a challenge from the gods. Shot 1, 10. The scoreboard pinged softly, like a blade sliding into a sheath. A few murmurs. Tyler scoffed. "Lucky shot," he grunted. Shot 2, 10. Another ping. Sharper now. Vanessa's smug smirk slipped a little. Shot 3, 10. A melodic chime sang across the range, a sound rarely heard, celebrating 3 perfect shots in a row. The room froze. Laughter turned to tension, thick enough to choke. "Beginner's luck," Connor muttered, voice cracking like his confidence. Harper remained silent, her hazel eyes anchored on that distant target. Not a smirk, not a twitch, just focus so intense it felt holy. Shot fu 10 reals. The melody again, louder, unignorable. Coach Pierce's clipboard shook in his hand. Shot 5-10. A headset hit the floor, dropped by an athlete who forgot how gravity worked. Shot 6-10. You could hear a pin drop, or a soul shatter. Every single eye locked on Harper. Her tattered jacket, under those pristine lights, now looked like battle armor. Ethan's cocky grin had vanished. His jaw set tight. His eyes narrowed. That easy charm? Gone. He knew no way was in deep. The livestream was on fire. Who is she? This is insane. That gun's possessed. Harper adjusted her grip, her braids swaying like a war banner in the breeze. Each move was ritual, precise, sacred. The audience's hate had morphed into a weaned. They hated themselves for it. Shot 7-10.0. The melody now sang like a hymn in a cathedral of disbelief. Tyler went pale. His ego crumbled like stale bread. Shot 8-10.0. Vanessa yanked off her optics. Her hands were shaking. Shot 9-10.0. Silence. Total. Not even a whisper. Phones lowered. No one could even speak. Shot 10-10.0. Dead center. A perfect bullseye. The shot overlapped the first, not even a millimeter off. The digital board erupted. 100.0 new facility record. The final melody rang out like a victory anthem. The system's voice echoed through the stunned chamber. Facility record broken. Harper lowered her rifle slowly, like she was laying a sword to rest after battle. Her breath was steady. Her eyes swept the room, no smugness, no revenge, just pure, unshakable calm. The crowd lost it, roared like they just watched a goddess descend with divine retribution. The very air felt different. The same people who mocked her now looked at her like she'd cracked the earth open. She turned, her voice soft, but sharp as a scalpel. My father taught me to shoot when I was 6. Silence. He was the top sniper in his unit, while you were still learning how to double-click your dad's trust fund. Boom. You could hear the shame slap across their faces. They stood still, heads down, the earlier cruelty a stench they couldn't scrub off. Coach Pierce stood up, his posture straightening, like someone just saluted his soul. His eyes shimmered with the kind of respect that couldn't be faked. He clapped, once, then again, slow, loud, deliberate. And like a domino effect, others joined. Applause rolling through the room like thunder, not for a girl with a dusty rifle, but for a damn legend. Ethan Caldwell stood frozen. His mouth twitched. His heart stuttered. He saw Harper smile, not big, just a flicker, but enough. Enough to destroy him. That little smile unraveled everything he believed about his throne at the top. The board flashed. 100.0 Harper Lane. And just like that, the girl they called janitor burned down the temple of privilege with 10 perfect shots. It hit him like a detonation. A spark straight to the chest, Ethan's heartbeat stumbling like it didn't know how to process defeat. I was an idiot, he blurted out, voice cracking just enough to be caught on the live stream and replayed 1,000 times. You're not just better, he said, eyes wide with something dangerously close to respect. You're untouchable. The silence was suffocating, heavy, awkward, perfect. Every rich kid who'd laughed earlier now stood there like they'd just watched their golden idol crumble into powdered shame. Ethan's eyes, once brimming with smug arrogance, now tracked Harper's movements like he was seeing her for the first time. That jacket? No longer a punchline. It was a badge of honor, worn by a sniper who'd just carved her name into legend. The live stream chat turned savage in the opposite direction. He's cooked. Harper is queen. VIP stands for very incompetent, privileged now. Coach Pierce stepped up like he was delivering a eulogy for Ethan's ego. Mr. Caldwell, his voice boomed, slicing through the tension like a judge's gavel. Your scores are no longer the standard here. He paused, voice dropping into steel. Step aside. Ethan's shoulders slumped under the weight of it, but his eyes clung to Harper like a drowning man staring at dry land. Her smile, small, steady, lethal, wasn't smug. It was the quiet flame of absolute victory, and it lit something in him he didn't even know was flammable. The crowd erupted again, no longer laughing at her, now they were screaming for her. The rise of Harper Lane had come with blood, silence, and gunpowder. Ethan's fall, public, loud, devastating. His 10s and 9.9s were now just numbers, overshadowed by perfection. His humiliation lived forever on that scoreboard. And in the chat, she erased him. Harper Lane, rifle goddess. He stepped forward, voice low, not cocky, not performative, reverent. I was wrong, he said, eyes scanning hers like a confession. You're incredible. Harper nodded, her smile warm, now still faint, still calm but with a softness that hit him harder than any bullet. The crowd stayed quiet. That silence wasn't awkward now. It was reverent. They weren't just spectators, they were witnesses. Coach Pierce stepped forward again, and even his gruff voice had pride tangled in it. That was the finest shooting I've seen in 4 decades, he said. Your father's legacy didn't just live on. It evolved. Harper's eyes softened. The mission she'd carried for years in her back, in her breath, was complete. A promise kept. Then came General Marcus Tate, the range director himself. Silver-haired, suit pristine, voice like a military speech turned gospel. He stepped forward into the floodlights, his tone echoing through the steel halls. Harper Lane has redefined excellence, he announced. His words aimed straight into the live stream like a sniper shot of truth. Her score 100.0 is now the official benchmark for Hawthorne. The crowd gasped. A line in the marble had been drawn and no one else was close. Then his gaze turned icy, scanning the staff like a drill sergeant about to clean house. As for those who mocked her derrick, Professor Vance, effective immediately. You're suspended pending full review. At Hawthorne, we honor skill, not bloodlines. The room detonated in whispers, gasps, shockwaves of accountability. The once smug faces now looked like deer in headlights. Tate raised a hand, and the massive screen behind him lit up like a coronation. Harper Lane, record holder. She stood tall under the glow. No gloating, just presence. Her smile, soft and controlled, caught Ethan's eyes again, his heart now sprinting just to keep up with what he was feeling. Something new, something dangerous. The live stream blew up. Number, Harper Lane. Number, Hawthorne Reckoning. Number, she shot the system. She wasn't just trending. She was legendary. The audience's heart swelled like a damn orchestra building to a crescendo. Her victory wasn't just personal, it was a purge. A rewrite of everything that place stood for. And the elite? They crumbled. Connor Blake slunk back to the lounge like a rat caught in daylight, his expensive tracksuit now a joke without punchlines. His clique avoided his gaze like it was radioactive. She owned him. Vanessa, already packing up her scope like her modeling contract depended on it. Her pride, once louder than a gunshot, now nothing but a twitch in her lip. Tyler? Silent. Rifle untouched. His alpha act now, a silent beta replaying the moment he laughed, and she made history. The live stream trended worldwide. Her 10 shots were replayed, slowed down, analyzed like holy relics. The retired general who sneered about scholarship trash. He stood up, red-faced, and muttered something that might have been an apology, but it drowned under the roar of applause. Mia Holtha-Brat, who tossed the score, sheet slipped off her designer jacket and practically evaporated from the building. Even Gucci couldn't shield her from this kind of humiliation. The elite weren't just humbled, they were freaking wrecked. The velvet rope that once kept people like Harper out, in shreds. And Ethan? Still standing there, his confidence gone. In its place curiosity, then awe, then something deeper. As the crowd thinned, he approached, not with swagger, but humility. "Can we talk?" he asked, voice quiet now, honest. "I owe you everything." Harper turned, her hazel eyes meeting Hisan. For once, he didn't look away. She smiled, just a little, and nodded. A new chapter had begun. The applause faded. But her name? It was still echoing. Harper Lane. Legend. The swagger? Gone. What replaced it was something Ethan had never felt before: realness. That raw, humbling intensity that hits when your ego's been sniped out of the sky. "I don't deserve a second of your time," he said quietly, his voice stripped of bravado, his gaze locked on that faint, devastating curve of her lips, the smile that had dismantled his entire goddamn world. "But I'd be a fool not to try," he added, barely above a whisper. "You're not just a shooter, Harper. You're a force." The crowd didn't speak. Their silence wasn't discomfort anymore, it was reverence. A sacred pause. The live stream drank it in like gospel. "Oh, he's in love. I repeat, there's in love." Harper's hazel eyes met his, calm, knowing. That smile of hers deepened just enough to burn his insides alive and then soothe the burn at the same time. "Coffee's a start," she said. Simple, warm, like tossing him a rope after letting him drown a little. The range staff, who once scoffed at her, now stood still, silent, respectful. Harper's presence didn't just earn admiration, it commanded it. Her score wasn't just a record. It was a damn compass. A new North Star. Ethan's heart raced. That smile, that moment, was when it all changed. The day he stopped performing and started feeling. She didn't just shoot her way to the top, she dragged the truth out of him with each bullet. The audience's hearts swelled, because it wasn't just a win. It was a reckoning. Harper's rise wasn't a fluke, it was destiny. 10 perfect shots and a seismic shift. The leaderboard updated again. Harper's name now locked in digital stone. Harper Lane, 100.0, record holder. Her name wasn't just etched in pixels, it was burned into their history, a permanent middle finger to the elitism that had tried to bury her. The same crowd that mocked her now stood with phones down and heads lowered, their earlier venom curdled into shame. A young athlete stepped forward, barely older than a teenager. Her voice shook. "I was wrong to laugh," she said, her eyes holding back tears. "You're everything this range should be." Others nodded, then clapped, and like a slow-building storm, the applause rolled forward, crushing their past ridicule beneath a tide of earned respect. Harper's smile, soft but piercing, cut straight through the noise. She glanced at Ethan again, and his heart tripped. He saw it now. The fire wasn't just in her aim, it was in her stillness, her calm, her unshakable, terrifying grace. The live stream caught it all. The shift, the transformation. She changed the game. Number, Harper inspires. Number, faded jacket legend. Even that crusty old general who'd spat about breeding clapped, face beat, red and drowning in regret. His earlier words, gone, buried in applause and dust. Harper stood unmoved. That same faded jacket, once mocked, now a goddamn symbol of victory. She didn't flex, didn't strut. She didn't have to. Her silence was the thunder that followed lightning. The range itself felt different, rewired, reborn. What was once a temple to status had been cracked open and rebuilt on truth. Her truth. The audience's anger had shifted, twisted into pride. She hadn't just shattered the hierarchy, she'd rewritten it. For every outsider, every underdog, every scrappy soul who'd ever been told no. The live stream crowd chanted her name. Harper, Harper. Their fury had evolved into triumph. She wasn't just a shooter now, she was a beacon, a symbol of what happens when the system underestimates the wrong girl. 1 month later, Harper and Ethan were together. Not the cliché fairy tale, something realer. He didn't worship her because she was strong. He changed because she showed him what strength looked like without noise. He learned to see through her eyes, where skill couldn't be bought, where grit beat gold, where faded jackets mattered more than pedigrees. 3 months later, he proposed. No camera crew, no spectacle, just a ring, simple, solid, perfect, like her. They married quietly, no velvet rope, no gatekeepers. And above it all, the range's plaque still glowed. Harper Lane, record holder, 100.0. Hawthorne Elite Range. It wasn't just for the elite anymore. It was hers, reclaimed, rewritten, reinvented by a girl in scuffed jeans and a rifle that looked like it came from a museum but shot like a goddamn legend. Harper Lane didn't come for their praise. She didn't need it. Because she was never aiming to please. She was the bullet that hit the mark. Like, share, subscribe, and never underestimate the girl in the faded jacket.